Welcome back. We are here with the water man or water guy, Erick. Oh my gosh, I don't know if we should let you talk or not because what I've heard of your job, our water's pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah, our water is incredibly challenged. I mean, when you think about the journey it takes just coming through the sky to come down the mountains to make it to the valley.
Wow.
Well, by the time it gets here, it's incredibly, let's just say it's tired. Water likes to move everything it touches. So when it's going through the air, I mean, you ever noticed after a good rain, you can smell the air really well?
Right.
That's because all the garbage in the air has actually been pushed to the ground.
Nice.
Then it comes down the mountains and we fill it up with dead fish and dead birds, and rats and mice and squirrels and possums and raccoons and you name it. By the time it gets to the valley floor, it's already incredibly gross. And then it basically gets underground and it's hanging out with all the other garbage underneath the ground. And by the time they pull it up, it's incredibly challenged water. So they have to do some pretty challenging things to it. I mean, I always ask people when I'm in their house, which water do they think is more dangerous, the water you drink or the water that lands on your skin? And in truth, the water that lands on your skin is more dangerous simply because your skin is your largest organ, but it's the only thing between you and the rest of your body.
Why is that? So why is it more dangerous for it to be on our skin?
Well, because they have to use a variation of basically a bleach, and they call it chlorine. If you look up chlorine and bleach in the dictionary, you're going to discover they're basically the same thing. But bleach dissolves in water, and chlorine dissipates, or it dilutes in water.
So is our bathroom water dirtier than our sink water in the kitchen?
It's the same water.
That's what I thought.
But when you're taking a shower or taking a bath and all of the pores in your skin open up, the chemicals that are in your water that are used to disinfect it literally go right through your skin on contact and rage throughout your entire body, reaching everywhere in your body in about 26 seconds. So I always ask mothers if they would pour chlorine on their children, and they say absolutely not. So I offer them $50 and they say absolutely not. Then I turn on their faucet water and say, thank goodness you're doing it for free anyways, because they have to put it in there. I'm not here to make fun of the water companies. I mean, they do the best they can with the budget they have, but over 90% of the water that they quote unquote fix goes right back on the ground or is used in laundry or something like that anyway. So they're not really expecting us to drink that much, but they have to kill all the organisms they can before they deliver it to our house.
What about drinking fountains, like at the gym and stuff, and at the parks? How safe are those?
Oh,
See, your face right now says it all. This is why I'm like, should I let you come and talk and ruin my fake world?
Well, I mean, I heard a story years ago, and it kind of comes along these lines. Let's say you went to a restaurant.
Right.
Okay. And outside the restaurant, as you're parking your car, there's a manhole cover up, and there's a waiter or a waitress who's shoving steak into a pipe. And you go in and sit down, and you discover there's that same pipe comes out of the wall right over the top of your plate, and that steak that you saw them shoving in from outside lands on your plate. Now, would you eat that steak?
No.
Well, imagine how many more miles the water traveled through those same pipes.
So the gyms and the parks are they worse than our house or equal?
That's a total crapshoot because every house can be different from the house next to it. There could be a break in the pipe in between my house and your house. There could be a break in the pipe. I mean, there could be anything leaching into the water. The water companies do what they can to deliver us what's called potable water. And they put chlorine in the water, but chlorine literally is designed to kill everything it touches, every living organism. So if you're drinking straight out of the water fountain, are you not a living organism?
Right. Okay.
Now, it's not going to, I'm not saying you're just going to die from drinking faucet water, but let me ask you this. If you walked up to a fountain out in a park, and there was an ice chest there with a bunch of sandwiches, said free sandwiches, take one, would you eat it?
Probably not.
Probably not. You have no idea where it's been, who made it, or anything. So turn on the faucet. What do you know about that water coming out of the faucet?
It's bad. Well, my problem as a personal trainer is people are not drinking enough water. So now when they hear this, I'm just a little afraid that it's like, oh, they're running out of park. I can't drink that because they heard you on here. I mean, is it better to drink bad water or no water at all?
Well, I'd drink bad water if I drink no water, because you're going to die if you don't drink water. There's no doubt about that. But the thing is that water has health levels to it, and purified water is always going to be better than tap water.
Yeah, for sure.
Always better. And the better the water, the better your body absorbs the moisture. The better your body absorbs the moisture, the better everything works inside your body. Meaning that your tendons, your cartilage, everything. I mean, your blood is 83% water, so we kind of need to keep putting it in there. But there's just different grades of waters. No different than when you go to school and you get an A, B, C, D, or F. Okay, and your purified water would be closer to an A, and everything else falls underneath that. I mean, they could give us purified water everywhere if we're willing to pay for it, but nobody wants to pay for that.
So what is the alternative? Where do you come in?
Well, what I do is what we do at Nuvia is we fix water. We fix water at the source. I mean, once the water is delivered to your house, it's up to you what kind of quality the water is. It's up to you whether you want it to be, good old-fashioned standard equipment water, or if you want it to be upgraded. The bottom line is we only get two options in the entire world. And they're really simple. Either you get a filter or you are the filter. You either filter the water mechanically or you filter the water physically.
Your body filters.
Your body filters it. And that is a fact.
How much does it cost to bring somebody in and look at it and do all that? Because everything is a cost these days when you own a home. It just never ends.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And to have me or one of my guys, because I have guys all up and down the valley.
Okay.
To have one of us come take a look at your water costs nothing. There's no obligation.
Okay.
It's just education. Okay.
But once everyone knows they're drinking like horrible water, they're going to probably want to change it. So at that point, how much does it cost?
Well, the funny thing is everybody has already changed that because they're drinking bottled water. And usually when I take the bottled water cost of what they're just giving to Nestle or Alhambra or whatever else, and I take that off of a system, more often than not, my system is basically free because they're already buying a system, they just don't have one. When we factor in what they're spending on cleaning products and what they're spending on bottled water, more often than not, I save people money right out the gate, and I protect the family. I'm really adamant that you're going to pay for the water one way or the other. You're going to pay for the damage to your pipes. You're going to pay for the damage to your appliances. And possibly not, there's always the risk of damage to yourself.
This helps the pipes in your house preserve them and make them stay
absolutely
nice. That's a really good factor when you're selling a home.
Well, the thing is that calcium carbonate or calcium, limestone, and magnesium, they literally are kind of like a bad cholesterol in your arteries. The older your pipes, the more that stuff builds up in your pipes. And the longer it's building up, the more it chokes off your water pressure. But it's also building up in your water heater, in your dishwasher, in your washing machine, your refrigerator, ice maker. That water is damaging everything it touches, or it doesn't have to. The bottom line is that usually I'm able to replace the cost people are just throwing out the door with a water system that protects everything and everyone.
Okay, so my next question, what if you live in an apartment? Are you just screwed because you have to then just have to buy, what happens? Well,
there is a Band-Aid you can do. I mean, I'm always trying to get people to not spend time touching the water because I don't like the idea of people absorbing chlorine or chloramine, which is a far more dangerous substance. It's a chlorine molecule with ammonia wrapped around it. It's terrible to everything it touches.
Oh my gosh,
that sounds horrible. I can go on for an hour about that. But if you live in an apartment, it's not like there's nothing that can be done. When you go to Lowe's, go to Home Depot, they do make shower heads that have carbon in them. It's the smallest of Band-Aids to a gaping wound, but it's better than nothing. You can still get a good reverse osmosis system where you're not drinking out of petroleum products or bottled water, because that stuff is also not good for you either. But if you can get a reverse osmosis or just get some kind of water that's actually purified, that will help your body. If you can get a shower head that's removing as much of the disinfectant as possible, hey, it's way better than nothing. Way better.
So when you've tested the water, what town had the worst water?
Oh my goodness.
Come on, you can say it here.
Well, there's different degrees of terrible. In Fresno, if you look on the ewg.org website, there's a tap water database.
Oh, nice. Okay, perfect. Let's do that.
And in fact, did that picture already go up? Yeah, there's 40 different things that are contaminants in the water, 11 of which are at toxic levels, which is another fancy word for, I call it poisonous. But in those things, there's 3 different kinds of human sex hormones. There's rocket fuel. There's just all kinds of stuff you would never expect in your water.
Oh my God.
All you gotta do is read
Now the
list.
rodents don't sound so bad anymore.
Well, I mean, the thing is that water's a catch-all for everything. And truthfully, there is water that will just blow your mind. I was just in Los Banos yesterday. For those of you that have seen the movie Aaron Brockovich, the subject of the movie was hexavalent chromium. And in Los Banos, the hexavalent chromium is actually 1,595 times over what they consider a safe level. And that is the highest by far of anywhere I go. But there's also...
So that was like the worst place you saw?
Well, that's the highest level of chromium-6. And it's just ghastly.
And that's what people died of in that movie.
That's what that movie was about. Yeah,
wow.
They had to literally bulldoze Hinckley to the ground over that. But there's other cities around here where there's 1,400 times the legal limit of arsenic. I mean, which is also known as poison. It just depends. Whatever your zip code is, go to ewg.org, type in your zip code, go to, usually it goes right to your town, and take a look for yourself. I'm not making anything up. The information's there. Not to mention there's 2, 3, 4, 5 articles a day written on the water, either here or somewhere nearby. And it's a very good idea to look into your own water.
How much is the drought that California is going through a problem in all of this? Does it have anything? Is there a problem because we're going through a drought or not necessarily?
That's a great question. There is a price for everything. And I was listening to the radio last night, and they're talking about how there's areas of the Central Valley that have dropped up to 20 and 30 feet because as the aquifer being the water table below us, as it's being drained, it's actually lowering our elevation in certain areas. Yeah, there's truth to it, but we got away with 8 years of drought because literally we do things that's called a waste loop. So when we flush a toilet, the water goes out to a wastewater treatment plant where they bombard it with chemicals, and they let that actual water with every disease and every chemical and everything you can imagine, that seeps back down through the ground and goes back into the aquifer, and it gets pumped back up and used again.
Okay, so what your company does, is there any tax breaks? I mean, we get solar paneling, that helps us. Is there any benefit or just that we're healthier?
To my knowledge, there's no tax benefit to it. The benefit to having good water is just being able to trust what comes out of the faucet that is actually good for you. Literally, there's only 2 kinds of water. There's water that's working against you, and there's water that's working for you. And everybody has the choice. Almost everybody can afford it, literally, because there's financing available. There's ways to get your water right.
What about the proposition that Devin Nunes had passed, and I don't know if it was 3 or 5 years, about the amount of water that each person can use per day?
That wasn't Devin. That was Governor Newsom.
Oh, Newsom. I'm so sorry. I got my ends wrong. Is that going to affect anything, and is there any benefit of having you and all that goes through?
Well, every drop counts.
Yeah, it's Newsom. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, to my knowledge about that, it's going to be incredibly difficult for Governor Newsom to make that law work.
I was wondering how that was going to happen. What are you guys saying over at Nuvia?
Well, we're not saying a dang thing about it because, in honesty, I mean, they want to make that, 55 gallons per person per day. Well, unfortunately, unless they put a water monitor on your body, that's going to be kind of difficult to enforce.
Well, I thought they were doing it per house, and that included our laundry, our bath, our everything.
We already have a water meter on our house. See, the thing is that they're going to have to put a water meter in between the irrigation and the water that goes into your house, which is going to be really expensive considering how many million homes there are in California. I just don't see how they're going to be able to enforce that anytime soon. But, you know, a law is a law. Now, the thing is that as far as the water goes, you know, every drop that we put down our throat or lands on our skin, it does matter. It does matter. But I don't know how they're going to enforce 55 gallons per person per day.
I've been wondering about that for a while.
Well, I was kind of freaked out about it. And
that was the one thing that made me want to leave California when I heard that.
You and hundreds of thousands of others, right? The thing about, I don't understand how they're going to literally accomplish that. You know, being able to fine you $1,000 a day or whatever more per infraction.
That's crazy.
That's going to be nuts. Yeah.
Is Nuvia everywhere, or is this just a California thing?
Well, Nuvia is definitely a California thing. We are our factory. We're an original equipment manufacturer, so we make all our own parts, and all of that's done in Southern California. I'm actually the northernmost manager in California, but we stretch all the way to Texas.
State-wise, where are we on the water as far as like unhealthy water? Have you guys talked about that, or you guys aren't really talking to your partners over?
Well,
are there different? There's other U's in other states, I imagine, right? Even though it's not Nubia.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that you know, whenever I talk to a relative out of state, I'm calling up their zip code to see what they got going on.
Okay.
And there's the funny thing about the EWG database is that you can find out what's going on anywhere in America, like right now. And as far as California goes, I mean, we already lead the nation in the worst air quality. You know,
right.
Fresno, California.
Now we just add water to.
Well, in all the major metropolitan areas of America, we also have the worst water quality. So we got it going on. That number that was flashed on the screen earlier with 40 contaminants, that's a really rare number to have that high. Usually it's 10, 20. I mean, you can go to Visalia. They have their own issues. You can go up to Outwater. They have their own issues. I've tested the water from Bakersfield to above Sacramento personally, and all of these different pockets of the valley have their own issues, whether it's toxic waste dumps, whether it's just what's in the ground itself. If you live on city water, your water is having chemicals dumped in it to kill all the organisms. That's the good news. The bad news is that if you don't take them out before they come in the house, then that stuff's landing on you too.
Okay.
I mean, it's one of those things. If it's good news and bad news, the good news is the cities do what they can to fix the water so that we are safe. The bad news is that there's a price for that in our own bodies.
Have you ever been to a place and been like, wow, this water is actually not that bad?
I have. I remember being at a well in Madera, and I tested this guy's water, and I just stuck my hand and I said, congratulations, you don't need me. And
Awesome. Wow. That's such a good story.
Yeah.
And Madera, of all places, they're really hurting in the drought.
Well, the thing is that it was one particular well. I've also
just
been,
one particular well. Yeah,
I mean, this guy struck gold. I've also been to places outside of, kind of more up into the hills where they get pretty dang good water. It's a catch-22.
Do you think it's because not much stuff's they're getting it more from the source? Is that why?
Well,
it's more of a direct source. Or not
again,
really?
anything goes because there can be a break in the pipe anywhere, and you could be getting heavy nitrates. You could be getting a whole lot of uranium. You could be getting all kinds of crazy stuff. Here in Fresno, like I said, we got 3 different kinds of sex hormones in our water. That's not good.
Every time I see an audience member's face, every time you say that, it's just like.
Well, it's got testosterone. There's estrogen. I mean, there's stuff in our water we just don't need. And my job is to make it as safe and healthy as possible. That's what we try to do.
Well, I think everyone needs to call you just to get their water tested, and then you can tell us how much we're gonna have to pay. Is it a one-time pay for you, or it's ongoing?
No, we can do cash or we can finance. So literally, the way we try to structure it is that most homes literally are spending at least $100 a month to buy other people's water through soap products and bottled water.
So you're going to be less than that. Okay,
yeah,
that gives a little bit of a ballpark.
Right. I mean, we could do personal water systems for $25-$30 for your drinking water, and that'll give you far superior water than you're getting out of your bottles. Or we can do a whole entire system where we fix everything. And
okay, so
right
there's levels of what we can do. Okay.
Yeah.
But is this forever? Or,
no. Once it's paid for, it's paid for.
Oh, okay. So
They-
like maybe like after a year, we're usually done,
Take
or
a little longer than that.
like
yeah.
3 to 5 years.
Well, it depends on what kind of loan. It could be a 5-year loan. It could be a 9-year loan. It's
Okay.
We have. All I ever need to hear from somebody is, Eric, I want the water fixed. Then we will work around that.
Okay.
And the cool thing is our systems have a lifetime warranty.
Perfect.
So it's not my lifetime, it's your lifetime. And
So what if I just want someone to come test the water every 5, 10 years? If I'm a homeowner, they'll send somebody. If I'm like, hey, how's this functioning?
pretty much, yeah.
Awesome.
Whenever I get a new client, I just tell them I'm your water guy. You call me when you need me. And
Well, that's what we've been calling you all day, the water guy.
someone's got it right, huh, baby?
Oh my God! So thanks. So we have your information. Everybody's got to call Eric, and let's bring your lovely, beautiful wife up. Oh my! She was on a couple weeks ago.
Oh my goodness, I know you.
You do. Hey, what's up?
Oh my God! So what's up? So I have been, I'm just a trainer. But somehow we always get like told to do diets and massages and everything we're not equipped to be or certified to be. I'm only certified as a trainer. And so I was using that stuff that you gave me on the last episode to, I was rubbing them on their joints, that cream on like some people, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
That's incredible.
So,
Very good.
so yes, that was, I have it in my other bag. It's, what's it called again?
Relief.
Relief. So that and
Yeah.
it was relief for everybody.
Yeah.
So the bottle, how much does it cost? And to go through you directly, how do you put in an order and then send it to us? How does that work?
The best thing to do would be to go to CariAnneCarson.com,
Okay.
fill out the form, make sure you include, and when I say form, it's just your name, your email address, and your phone number. But then that way I can get back in touch with you and we can go through what's going on with you. Because I would say that's probably more important than anything, to kind of figure out what's happening with you. What do you need relief with? So, let's start there, and then we can go through what it is that you actually need. But I know that relief cream is amazing.
Yeah, I think what was a little, she was like, kind of, how much is it for that jar, for the little
Right,
one?
for
When you gave me? So is it
there's
65?
2 different sizes. So
I can go, if Briggs is around, tell him to go in my bag and get it.
and you can get like there's packs where you save money, where it's you buy 3, you get 1 free. So
Okay.
there are cost savings, but if you were to just buy the one smaller jar by itself, it's $69.
Okay.
And it's got CBD in it, and it is it's an amazing product.
But there's
all
ways-
unto itself.
There's ways we can get like a bunch of them to where it's more cost effective.
Yeah,
Where we could do like
yeah.
a buy something, get something.
It's a 4-pack. That's the best cost savings. I
So
would
what's
say.
a 4-pack? How much is
So
that?
the 4-pack is it ends up being $49 a piece for each
Okay.
one, or you can just look at it like you buy 3, you get 1 free.
And sometimes we can get it delivered to our house.
You
as
can
well?
get it. You can totally get it delivered to your
Okay,
house.
so go to her.
Yeah.
Everyone's been liking it, and it was just something because I had it in my bag, and I'm like, well, I have this, and I was giving it to them, and they loved it. And like I said, I'm not a my hands are super small. I'm not even trying, but I'll go if they could go hard. I was digging in them and using
yeah,
that, and they
yeah.
loved it. So I was like,
Well, and then using the CBD under your tongue orally also. So then you have that, it's going in your body. It gets into your bloodstream, okay? And so you're taking that, and then you use the cream in conjunction with that. So you're getting more benefits. The more that you're adding to it, so you've got it topically on the skin, but then also in the body.
Right.
It's getting into the bloodstream. So
well, it works.
together.
I had to tell everybody that because a lot of people come in, they plug things, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, everybody's been happy.
That's great.
It's actually a funny story. My eyelash lady, she's like, if you could do this, give me a bag rub. She goes, I'll give you it like cheaper. She felt great afterwards. So I mean, it's been great. Everyone, this is like this magic jar.
Oh yeah, it's
of
incredible.
relief. So
We've got a
awesome.
lot of massage therapists that are in my business, because they use it on their clients. And,
That's awesome.
Yeah, people that are concerned about their health, as you are. People that trainers, a lot of trainers actually. Yeah. So
we're always in pain, and then we're always dealing with people in pain. So that's okay, everybody. So it works. So definitely look into it, and you can give it as a gift too. I can score some points, guys.
Always, always.
Thank you guys for coming on.
You're so welcome.
Thank you, Sparkle.
Thank you.
Life on the moon, wanna see the stars. Yeah, the freckle in your eyes, my boy, is so filled with charm. Fly me to Mars, you've got so many scars. I'm wondering